Have you heard of feminization view hypothesis?
I'm sorry, sir.
Not really. Okay. Why do we call Uttarakhand as Devbhoomi?
So Uttarakhand has a lot of temples, and because of that spirituality per se, the state is termed as Devbhoomi. Other than that, so there is a reference of Uttarakhand as Manaskand in various Vedas and scriptures. So because of that also it's called Devbhoomi.
Okay, maybe there are so many other reasons also can be implied, lack of crime, serenity, nature. Can it be called actually as Devbhoomi? Apart from the reasons that you told.
Yes, sir. So lack of crime, I would not agree with that. But other than that, sir, yes, it's a beautiful, serene state.
Okay, no problem. You have interest in writing scripts?
Yes, sir.
The theatre. You've done formal theatre?
No, sir, just college.
You know what biopics are? Are they a trend now?
Yes. Yes, sir, they are.
Okay. So what exactly is the script writing for biopic different from a normal script writing?
So, for a biopic, particular consideration is given to the person whose biopic is being made, and often it happens that the person tries to mold a particular situation from his perspective, as happened in the Dhoni biopic that was made. So a lot of controversy was created because it was said that most of the incidences where there was some kind of disagreement between him and his players, or the IPL controversy, which was a major part of his career, left.
That means if the reality has to be scripted, it is difficult.
Yes.
Okay, first of all, what is the contribution of NSS in general to you? You have the NSS BSc, the certificate on that.
So the National Service Scheme tries to encourage a feeling of patriotism and a feeling of belongingness in a particular student, considering that he is extremely exposed to the vulnerabilities of societies. He tries to interact with different people and tries to understand their problems. Also, he tries to create social awareness via Nukkad Nataks and different camps that are conducted for social schemes.
So, do you believe we should have a compulsory enrollment if there are so many benefits, or compulsory military service for certain years like Israel?
So, one of the major reasons why Israel has a compulsory military service is because of their limited population and their continuous military fights that happen between the neighboring nations. India, on the other hand, has a huge population, and there are people who are interested in serving in the armed forces. Rather than compulsively doing it for some people and forcing them to serve in armed forces would not be the right thing for a huge nation like us.
And you also written Zumba dance.
Yes.
What is the similarity of Zumba to the Indian folk dances, particularly the one in Assam?
So, are you referring to Bihu?
Yes.
So, I do not know the particular details about Bihu, but Bihu has a lot of jumping movements in it, and Zumba also has a lot of jumping movements in it. Other than that, I do not know the similarity.
Does Zumba have any origin in the folk dances similarities?
So, yes. So, Zumba does not have a directly origin from a folk dance, but it came from the Latin American dance. And so they tried to emulate the African form of dance into it, which had extremely fast beats to try and ensure a better cardio output.
Make in India is a flagship scheme of government, and it's already almost 3 years that it has been launched. Can you tell any objective parameter on which we can identify whether it is successful or not?
So 3 days back there was a news in the newspaper that said that our electronic exports for the first time have exceeded our electronic imports. And because of the nation like us which consumes so much of electronics, it is extremely important. So this was successful only because of Making India venture and the flagship scheme, which also generated employment.
That is a very small aspect. It doesn't tell about the entire Indian industry. any objective parameter as a whole? That is what I asked.
So
That is very subjective.
statistically.
For example, index of industrial production, or any manufacturing index, or FDI into manufacturing, at least something which is measurable and objective.
I'm sorry, sir, I didn't understand.
Any example of common market area?
So ENA,
Sorry?
common market ENA.
Common market area. That we have
Different kind of integration between the economies. This is one common market area.
Sir, so we had a FTA with Asia.
That doesn't work. Anyway, what is common market area? You can understand.
I'm sorry, sir.
Were there so much landslides in Uttarakhand?
I'm sorry, sir.
Why so frequently landslides in Uttarakhand?
So the Himalayan mountains are young mountains, and since they're young, so they are unstable as well. Because of that, if particular infrastructure development occurs in these regions via different explosives, so that kind of weakens the rocks and frequent landslides happen.
So it's a more natural or anthropogenic factor?
So both of them are reasons for the same. So a lot of cloudbursts also happen in Uttarakhand, and because of that landslides happen. Other than that, anthropogenic activities also contribute.
So what is the contrast with the same Himalayan region of the northeast? Why it is not happening so frequently there?
So the infrastructure development, as in comparison to Uttarakhand, is still not that much in the northeast. The connectivity also is lesser, and the tourism also has not developed to that extent. So that much of human penetration has not also occurred. So because of that.
Okay, well, coming to this place, you must have seen something about Delhi. So how do you describe Delhi?
So Delhi is a very crowded city, and a lot of traffic, and it's a fast-paced city. So it's a capital nation, so all the important activities, and it's an economic center as well.
Okay, so it's a capital economic center.
The same can be talked about Dehradun and Goa. They seem to be crowded.
So Delhi
What is so specific in Delhi?
So Delhi has a lot of planned gardens that are not there in Dehradun or other places.
Green cover is.
Green cover is maintained. Also planned traffic in terms of proper public transport for buses, and for metro is there. That is not there in Dehradun. We don't have planned taxis also. That is also a huge problem. So
In city classification, necropolis is considered as city of dead. Metropolis, cosmopolis, necropolis, city classification. So, are we reached to that point?
So I'm sorry, I cannot recall the classification right
No. As far as living conditions are concerned, so Delhi reached to that point where we can say it's not a cosmopolitan, rather it's a necropolis, city of dead.
Water shortage, fog, smog,
Traffic.
breathing problem, traffic.
Is it so?
So partly yes.
So what needs to be done?
So we need to implement the new government policy of. So there was a policy which said that accessory areas in the metros near the metro should be developed, so that I'm forgetting National Urban Mobility Plan was there. So it was there, and it said that the nearby regions of the metro should be developed, whereby people who are being employed in the main cities can travel easily, and the public transport should be such that you don't need to reside in the main city.
Okay.
So migration is good or bad? Uttarakhand is considered to be a place. There are several villages which have become empty. People have left it. In this context, tell me whether migration is good or bad. those haunted villages.
Yes, sir. Uttarakhand has around 1,000 ghost villages as well. So migration as a whole is extremely affecting our state because ours is a money order economy. A lot of economy comes from the people who reside outside, and now what is happening is instead of being in Uttarakhand, they are working outside the region and going to main metros like.
Why this is happening? I have already said it, but why it is happening, and is it good or bad?
So because of the limited employment opportunities for people with higher skills and higher education, and to counter that, but government is doing its efforts, it's building in industrial parks so that they can be brought back.
Initially, there was a belief that in urban areas or metros, women are not safe. But nowadays, especially mountain estates, we are never reporting, at least reporting, I am using this word, violence and brutality against women. In Himachal elections saw that. Even Uttarakhand, some of the issues were raised with regard to that. Why women are becoming increasingly vulnerable when people's literacy level is increasing?
So there are three main reasons for it. So the increased crime rate of towards women is also being reported firstly because women have become more empowered and they can go and approach the authorities. So that is why the rate of crime being reported is increasing. So secondly, because of the women being working till late hours and getting more employment opportunities, they are more exposed to antisocial elements in the later hours of the evening, and because of that, certain social elements tend to do unfair things towards women. So that is happening, sir. And thirdly, because of lack of moral education to the male child. So more stress is laid on the moral education of girl child and not of the male child. So that is
There is another trend which is very disturbing. There were some well-known states where sex ratio was low, Punjab or Rajasthan. But in the latest census, 2011, it was pointed out that even either two good estates known for allowing girl children to take birth, they are also showing decline in child sex ratio. So how do you see that? Why child sex ratio is falling? There is one word which has been used, meta-preference of Indian households persons. Explain this meta-preference and connect it with falling child ratio.
So the economic survey suggested that a family plans on having, if it plans on having 2 children, then the preference is that one of them is male, and if the male is the child is the first one to come, then they may altogether avoid also the second children. So there was a term that was used for this. I'm sorry, I'm not able to recall it, but it said that for the last child, so that is that ratio does not actually denote a favorable sex ratio because there are many unwanted girls and many unborn girls. The unborn would be the ones who were killed because of female feticide, and unwanted are the ones who are treated.
Why they are unwanted? Girls are beautiful. Girls probably are more tolerant, and there are many virtues which they have can make a good society. Why they are unwelcome?
So there are 3 reasons for it. So at the societal level, the mindset of patriarchy and the preference for a male child. So at the family level, parents feel that if a male is born, then they can get a better financial stability as compared to a girl child. So thirdly, even on an individual level, so girls are reared in a way that they are meant to be more homely and to be more involved in the daily activities of home rather than being economically empowered.
There is a